Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make videos for NFL. All these videos that get posted on this subreddit, I'll just have a link to this down below. And I make updates with all the news that comes out. You can ask me questions about the slate, anything you need. This will be linked down below. So I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter or Reddit Messenger. But the fastest way to reach me is on the comment section. All right, so pretty good day for me. I 3x today. My core today was Tyrese Maxey. Unfortunate blowout. Tobias Harris, who absolutely nuked the slate. He was only like 40% owned. I was absolutely shocked by that. And I told everyone to get to Duncan Robinson or Jamie. Most of us went to Duncan. He absolutely smashed, and then I rounded out my lineup with Bam Adebayo. He had a good game. Sengun, he was kind of mid. Dario Saric, who I told everyone was one of the better value plays on the slate. I forget who else was in my lineup, but it was a 4x day for me. Hope you guys had a good night as well. And let's get into this 8 game slate for tomorrow. I believe it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 7 game slate for tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the playoffs tomorrow for football as well. Hopefully, you guys have some teams to root for. And yeah, it's bittersweet this season's ending, but let's get into it. Yeah, and if you are interested in more in depth content where I go over, player pools, private videos, cores for you guys, all that good jazz, I'll have my Discord link down below. All right, let's get into the slate. So, we got to keep an eye on Brooks news because if he's out, I think we have to have interest in this Rockets team. Without Dylan Brooks, they are just running probably the tightest rotation I've ever seen, or close to one of the tightest rotations in regular season basketball. I mean, if we pull up the rotation from tonight, sorry guys, I was looking at other rotations before making this video. I mean, look at this rotation. They played a bunch of guys, but like Jalen Green, 39 minutes, Fred VanVleet, 43 minutes, Alfred Sengun, 37 minutes, Jason Tate, 20 minutes, Jabari Smith, 41 minutes, right? Just absolutely absurd. I don't think they want to play like Jason Tate, Cam Whitmore right now. They even dusted off Reggie Bullock for 21 minutes. So keep an eye on if Dylan Brooks is out. Because if he's out, I think we're going to have interest in Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Fred VanVleet, Alfred Sengun. Like Jalen Green, if he gets 40 minutes, he is just too cheap. Like way, way too cheap. He should be like a 7K player if he's playing 40 minutes. So if Dylan Brooks is out, I like Jalen Green. With Easton out, Jabari is going to play all the minutes he can handle. I think he's very, very safe. Now, it's not a good matchup going up against Boston, but with the amount of minutes they are playing, I think they're all solid plays. Fred, Sengun, we know they're going to play huge minutes as well. If assuming Brooks is out, this is assuming Brooks is out. Jason Tate, he's playable, but he's been god awful. They bench him every time. Whitmore didn't really play too many minutes tonight. Like I said, they dusted off Reggie Bullock, just unbelievable stuff. But yeah, if Brooks is out, definitely have to have interest in this team. If Brooks is in, then it could hurt guys like Jalen Green, possibly Jabari Smith. It'd definitely be a little bit of downgrade. Still would have interest in Fred and Sengun, but not the best spot here. And then I'd be off the value entirely. Moving on to Boston, no priorities here. Tough spot going up against Houston. Very, very tough spot. So Tatum Brown, Porzingis, White, Drew. When everyone's healthy, they just eat into each other's usage. Plus a tough matchup. I think this team is basically a cross-off for me. I don't even have anyone I like for tournaments for you guys, tournament guys out there. So that play multiple lineups. No real favor. I guess Tatum because he's sub 10K, but I really just don't like much here at all. This is a game where I think we can get some good plays from. Like I keep saying it, Washington's always a really, really good tournament team to target because everyone refuses to play them. And when you get a competitive game, they will play their guys mid 30s minutes. So if you think they keep this game competitive, which I think they will, going up against Atlanta is just god awful right now as well. I think Kuzma is a very solid play. He's popular here. I think he's a pretty good play once again. He's their clear go-to guy. Stuffing the stat sheet, really good spot going up against Atlanta. High over under. I think he's a very, very solid. I think Denny is playable. He got into massive foul trouble last game, but he should play 33, 32 minutes or so. Stat sheet stuffer, no issue with him. I'd like the ceiling on Jordan Poole if he just doesn't get benched. Tyus is playable. Daniel Gafford should play close to 30 minutes. I have interest in him. I like this team quite a bit for tournaments. Kispert got extended last game because of Denny foul trouble. He'll normally only play around 20 minutes, but has to do shots to reach value. I think we'll have better value out there. Not going to play Koulibaly. If you think it blows out, Sure, you could look to a Koulibaly, but in a competitive game, he's not going to play enough for me to want to go there. We'll just have way better value on this slate. All right, guys. Moving on to Atlanta. Did not mean to open that. So really, really good spot going up against Washington. I mean, if nobody's gonna want to click on Trae Young because of the stinker after tonight, I definitely have interest. Looking at the spend ups on the slate, you have Giannis, you have Kyrie who looks amazing, and then I'd rank Trae Young right behind them in a really, really good spot. So I like Trae Young a lot for tournaments. Once again, I think DeJounte's probably going to be a lot more popular than Trae Young is. I took his points tonight. He easily hit that. Another really, really good spot going up against Washington. Very, very, very similar in pace. Better matchup, actually. So I think DeJounte looks very solid. Jalen Johnson's very safe. I would say he's getting to the price point where I think he should be, though. Still playable, though. And then you guys always know I like to play bigs against Daniel Gafford. Now, I wish it was a different team because Capella and Okongwu kind of split the center minutes, but you give him, I don't know, 26, 27 minutes against Daniel Gafford. I like his ceiling. Okongwu, he's too close in price point. I think I'd rather play Capella, and then Bay is just fine. He'll play big minutes, but seems price right. All right, moving on to the next. Keep an eye on Brunson news. If Brunson's in, I mean, I think Randall and Brunson are solid spend ups. I think I prefer Randall to Brunson. Hartenstein, you guys know the drill here. I still think he's a bit too cheap for the amount of minutes he is going to be playing. He always is a foul trouble, or they're always getting blowing out people. But in a competitive game, he'll play 40 minutes. So I still think Hartenstein's very solid at 6.6K. OG's just very safe. They are running him into the ground right now. Solid rebounder, can get defensive stats. I have no issue with him. I think I haven't looked at the mid range entirely, but he might get some ownership tomorrow. I do think he looks solid. And then, Dante Hart, they're going to go with the hot hand with both. Both are in play for tournaments. I don't think I get to much else, though. And has Brunson, ever missed a game? I would be shocked if he missed here. But if he misses, I would assume they start Miles McBride. If that's the case, I like Miles McBride a ton for value. Quentin Grimes will get a bump. You can go there. Dante Hart will get a bump as well. They'd be solid at their price points. And then the main guys would look a lot better. All right, moving on to Memphis. Bane got hurt tonight. We'll keep an eye on if he is back or not. I'm not sure on Aldama. Let's say everyone that missed today is going to be out for tomorrow. Starting lineup they went with Bane at the point, which is I think what I said in my video last game. So it was I believe it was Bane at the point. They went with Bane, Kennard, Vince, Jaren, and Tillman. So assuming that's the case again. I like Tillman again. Played 30 minutes, good point per minute guy. Not the best spot going up against the Knicks, but he is too cheap if they're going to continue to play him around 30 minutes. So if they start Tillman again, I like him. The main guys, not the best spot, but I think are fine. I think I prefer Bane to Jaren. Vince at 5'6", she'll play around 30 minutes. Reasonable. I'd say he's getting to the price point to where I think he should be. And then Kennard played big minutes tonight. We know he has a ceiling when he's hitting a shot. So interesting Kennard. I was surprised we didn't really see any Conchar today, but we saw Gilliard some. He'll get the backup point. Roddy got some minutes. If Aldama's out, fine Dart. And then Zaire will be in the rotation as well. And then if Bane's out, then we'll see what they do. We'll also keep an eye on Rose. So if everyone's out, that's questionable. I would assume Gilliard would start. So it'd be Gilliard, Kennard, Vince, Jaren, Tillman. If that's the case, I think Gilliard stands out as a really solid value. Jaren's going to have to absolutely do everything for this team. He'd be solid. Vince would be solid. Still would like Tillman. Luke Kennard's going to have to absolutely chuck. He'd be a good value. And then I would assume we'd see a bit more Conchar possibly. So I'd like Conchar for value. Zaire would have to play a bit more. There would be a decent amount here. So keep an eye on the Bay news, keep an eye on the starting lineup. But Gilliard would be the standout to me. Moving on to Orlando, so please, Franz, come back, man, so I don't have to consider any. Tough matchup going up against OKC. Even if Franz is out, I don't like much here. I think Powell is okay as a contrarian spend up. Goga and Mo are kind of splitting the center minutes right now. I believe Goga got into, or no, we didn't get into foul trouble tonight. It was just blowout. I'm not going to play 5K Houston. Okiki, I don't think I can do it. Marco Fultz is on a limit. There's just not much here. And then if Franz is in, I don't think I can get to anything else. Moving on to OKC. So not a good spot going up against Orlando. SGA is always in play just because he's matchup proof and he's incredible stuffing his stat sheet. Just does absolutely everything for this team. He's been shooting extremely well too. That's actually insane. So I always have interest in SGA. He wouldn't be like one of my favorite spend ups, but he'd be firmly in play. Really bad spot for Chet. I mean, he's fine. I would say he's priced right. Jalen's priced right. Giddy just triple double in 20 minutes, just absolutely absurd. Priced right. Lou Dort at 5-2. Isaiah Joe, his minutes. What happened this game? Did they just go to the complete shitters? I guess he didn't get his stint. I don't think I like much from OKC. All right, keep an eye on Draymond Green. If they go with the same starting lineup they went with tonight, I believe it was Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Dario Saric, and Kevon Looney. If they do that again, there's a good amount to like here. Then I would really like Saric at 4.7K. Good point per minute guy that played 30 minutes. Keep an eye on that. Kevon Looney at 3.9K played 26 minutes. I'd like him for value. Definitely foul risk going up against Giannis. All that good jazz. But if he can stay out of foul trouble, I would like him. With Moody out, I believe Moody's still out, right? With Moody out, they have no other options. Like Klay is going to have to play big minutes, so I like Klay's ceiling. What else? Pod 6'4" is priced right. Steph is fine for tournaments. And then I'm not going to get to Kuminga. I'm not going to get to Trace. And then Wiggins would be fine. I think I prefer Saric, but keep it on starting lineup. If they go with that same starting lineup and they do the same rotation tonight, the value definitely looks pretty solid here. Moving on to the Bucks, I think Giannis could spend up there as one of the best. I think Kyrie is my favorite, and then, like I said, you have Giannis, you have Kyrie, you have Trey. I think those are my three favorite spend ups on the slate. If you're going above this like 9.3K range, so up there is fine. I think Dame's a bit too cheap once again, so I think Dame's an interesting tournament play. Chris Middleton's priced right. Brook Lopez is priced right. That Bobby Portis game was absolutely insane. He had a double-double in like 5 minutes. It's crazy. I'm not going to touch the value on this slate, though. All right, moving on to Chicago. So they're running a really tight rotation here. Main guy is playing huge minutes. Good spot going up against the Spurs. Spurs have no Wemby, so can the Spurs keep this close? If they can keep this close, I think the main guys are too cheap. So DeMar, Vooch, White, Levine, I think all look very good. I know one of them is probably going to be popular tomorrow. Trying to figure out which one it's going to be, I have no idea. So I would just go with the lower owned option. I think DeRozan looks the best just because he's the cheapest. I always prefer the one who's cheapest, but I think they're all very good. And Vooch should be able to feast. Like, there's no Wemby on the other side of this game, so I think DeMar and Vooch are my two favorites. I think both look really solid. Levine looks solid. Kobe White's even playable. Caruso's very safe for value. She'll play around 30 minutes. Just there for me. I don't get to much else, though. They're running a really tight rotation. Moving on to the Spurs, keep it out of the starting lineup here. I guess, they could start Barlow. I would assume they'd start Barlow, but they can go small, I guess. So I would assume starting lineup would be, Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, Dominic Barlow. What did they go? Because they've been changing the starting. So Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, Champagny, Sochan, and I would assume Dominic Barlow. So if that's the case, I like Barlow a ton for value of 4.5K. Sandro would get the backup. Fine Dart. The main guys look a bit better. Not a good spot going up against Chicago, though. But Vassell, he would look a bit better. Keldon would be fine. Trey Jones at 6.5K. She'll play around 30 minutes. Just can they keep this game competitive? He'll get a bump. Sochan gets a bump. But yeah, I think the standout would be Barlow. Chetty Osman, he'll also get a bump. I think he's intriguing for value. Yeah, keep an eye on that. All right, last game of the night here, guys. Pels at Dallas. Not much here on the Pels side. Ingram, CJ, Zion, when they're all healthy, it's tough for me to prioritize any of them. Jonas and Nance are splitting the center minutes. I think Nance okay. Herb Jones is priced right, so there's just not much here. And why did Dallas not price up anyone? I don't understand what they're doing here, but okay, here we go. So Lively is questionable. Assuming he remains out, you're going to get Dwight Powell starting. He would be a good value. Grant Williams to get the backup 5. I would like him for tournaments. What else? Jaden Hardy came off the bench. He played 23 minutes. Still would like him. Derek Jones Jr. very solid. Tim Hardaway Jr. I absolutely love at 5.8K. Kyrie's the best spend up on the slate. I absolutely love him. What else? What else? Seth Curry didn't play much last game. Josh Green, assuming he plays, I really, really like for value. So I don't know what DraftKings doing here with the pricing. They just forgot to price everyone up. And then if Lively plays, the bigs are probably out of play for me. Also going to hurt Grant if Lively plays. If Lively plays, I like Lively. And then if Josh Green is out, I mean, they could just move Grant in the starting lineup, I guess. They could also move, I don't know, they could do a number of things. So I guess just keep an eye on Josh Green, but I would expect him to play because if they don't, they're not going to have any bodies, right? I mean, they'll have bodies, but I don't know if they want to play anyone else. So really like this team. Once again, I don't know what DraftKings is doing with the price points, but that's going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you guys had a good night tonight, and I will talk to you all in the next one.